A fisherman just came to the sea to fish, but accidentally hauled in a strange creature. A terrifying screech came from the fishing net. The experienced fisherman soon realized something was wrong. If it were an ordinary big fish, there would be no way it could break free from the net. At this point, the fishermen still hadn't grasped the gravity of the situation, only thinking they had caught some odd deep-sea species. But what they didn't expect was that a war between land and sea had quietly begun at that very moment. Just a few days later, the British military purchased the creature's corpse from the fishermen. As the alarm sounded, soldiers quickly suited up and rushed to the scene of the incident. But to everyone's surprise, aside from the missing corpse and the missing soldiers, the room was completely silent. No sign of anything unusual. Buckley noticed a bulge in the corner of the wall. Out of curiosity, he pulled on it, and to his shock, it revealed a fully intact chair. The general sensed something was wrong. He picked up his radio and called out the soldiers' names. A crackle of static came through, but the sound seemed to come from beneath their feet. Now that the water people had awakened, they were bound to compete with humanity for living space on Earth. No one wanted to see war break out. It was best to resolve this peacefully. In addition to the military, the Joint Intelligence Task Force was also involved in this operation, a department established under the guidance of the mysterious doctor, originally responsible for managing extraterrestrial civilizations. But before they could finish their discussion, alarms rang out again outside the base. Technicians had detected an unknown life form on the beach. If their guess was right, this was undoubtedly a messenger from the water people. The general tensed up at the thought that they could turn soil into quicksand, but the fact that they were willing to show themselves rather than launch a direct attack meant there was still a possibility of negotiation. The technical department was ready, but when the general's English was translated into the water people's language, the system proved imperfect. The assistant had to remind the general to get to the point and not ramble as he usually did. After adjustments, the two sides finally began formal negotiations. The messenger's meaning was simple. Humans had killed one of their kind, and they had only retaliated in kind. Although the general wanted to avenge the two soldiers, he understood that the bigger picture came first. He proposed a temporary ceasefire, and the messenger readily agreed. The general then made many suggestions for peace, exchanging envoys, establishing cultural exchanges, and the messenger agreed to every single one. Just as everyone thought this conflict was nothing more than a false alarm, the messenger's next words made their hearts sink again. But the messenger demanded to communicate with all life on land, not just humans. The technician thought it was a translation error. Humans are at the top of the food chain and have the power to decide the fate of other land-dwelling creatures, so humans could represent all land life. The general was about to agree on behalf of humanity, but the messenger understood the principle that a weak nation has no diplomacy. Only by demonstrating the water people's power could there be an equal negotiation. Moreover, this negotiation didn't require humanity's consent because they were already in talks. We are talking to the whole world like now present. The general was baffled by the translation and didn't understand what the messenger meant by the way. But in the very next second, alarms popped up on every soldier's phone. The water people had already taken control of every river, lake, and sea on Earth. Perhaps what they truly wanted wasn't an equal negotiation at all, but to force humanity to submit through sheer power.